This week's edition of NJBIA's Minding Your Business is brought to you in part by AT&T, helping family, friends, and neighbors connect in meaningful ways every day. From the first phone call 140 years ago to mobile video streaming today, AT&T innovates to improve lives. New Jersey's community colleges, aligning education to build an innovative workforce. Find out how your business can join and benefit at njpathways.org. And by New Jersey Business Magazine, providing the critical information needs for New Jersey's business community for more than 65 years.
Welcome to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. Well, it's the end of 2022, and no better time to look back at some of the best and most interesting conversations among the many great ones we've had here on the show this year. Starting us off, we revisit a chat with Marc Saint-Ulysse, the CEO of a new music networking platform called Razu, who discussed having the logo of his startup appear on the helmets of the New Jersey Devils last season. Have a look.
All right, so before we get into the Devils and all this great stuff, what's going on with your logo,
Sure.
Tell us about the service, Razu.
So Razu is a networking and collaboration platform for artists. A lot of artists, when they're beginning their music careers, they tend to create music with their friends and family, and they're really limited to who they're making music with. So if you go online, if you're going on platforms like Facebook and Twitter, you might use those platforms to find a great artist, whether it's a singer, a rapper, a musician. But unfortunately, those platforms aren't necessarily catered to music, but that's what people are using today. Right. So when you find an artist on those platforms, you kind of have to figure out, okay, now that we've connected on Facebook or Twitter, where are we gonna make our music? Where are we going to share our files? Because platforms like Facebook, YouTube,
big data,
you cannot really transfer music files on those platforms. So you might have to utilize like a platform like a WeTransfer or Dropbox. So the journey to actually creating a song virtually is very extensive. So Razu is the platform that consolidates the key components of the music creation process. Okay. So now you could actually not only discover a new talent, but the same platform that you discovered a talent, you're actually creating music virtually without having to be in the same music studio.
Very interesting. So how did this all originate?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was actually babysat by my cousin, Emerson St. Pierre, who was a live musician. He would play the piano for Bruce Springsteen and CeeLo Green. Okay. And I was always around him during his jam sessions, rehearsals, music sheds. So that would actually make me play music as well. Right. I was a pianist as well. Okay. Fast forward many years, I attended St. John's University. The funny thing about St. John's is one of the biggest rappers today, J. Cole, attended St. John's. Sure. Although I wasn't there when he attended St. John's, I would say that being in New York City and wanting to pursue music, but also having an education, St. John's kind of like the best location to do that. So there was a lot of musicians and artists on campus and off campus. So ended up having like a lot of music friends. And they were really talented, but I always realized that they were always missing something. So if they were a rapper, they probably didn't have the best production. If they were a singer, they probably weren't the best songwriter. Right. So I realized that, you know, they're really limited to just creating music with the people that they know, whether somebody on campus, a friend of a friend. And of course, some of these artists, they're definitely not signed by a record label yet. So they're doing it on a very small budget. Right. And then I just realized that, you know, there needs to be a way for all of this to be consolidated into one place, because different artists have different ways to create their music. So that's why I came up with Razu, a platform, a music community that allows you to discover new talent and actually creating your song wherever you are. So not being limited to making music with somebody on campus or a friend of a friend. Maybe I'm in New York City and the best collaborator for me is in Los Angeles or Miami or overseas.
You're opening up the whole world for
Absolutely.
yourself. Yeah, instead of the guy you grew up with. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, nothing wrong with the guy you grew up with.
True.
I'm sure he's very talented. So you launched in September, and then I want to make sure I get this right. Prudential Financial and the New Jersey Devils, they started soliciting applications to what's called the Buy Black Business Program in October.
Yes.
And it's basically to support and amplify business opportunities for Black entrepreneurs. So you guys submitted an application.
Yes.
What did you think your chances were?
So funny enough, and I actually told this to the team at the New Jersey Devils and Prudential, I didn't really think I was going to win it. I thought it was a competition for more brick and mortar companies.
Right.
So companies that are in New Jersey, mainly in Newark, and I'm just a web platform.
Yeah.
So I didn't really think much of it. I just applied, and then once I saw that I made it to the next round, I was like, you know what? This actually does make sense because music is very important when it comes to live entertainments. You have the national anthem, you have pregame music, you have music during intermission. So I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then when I was thinking more, I realized, hey, there actually is the Grammy Museum in the Prudential Center. So then I was like, you know what? This would make a lot of sense. Let me actually focus on this this next round. So
so definite synergies between entertainment and sports.
100%.
Sure. Okay, so in October, then New Jersey Devils and Prudential Financial announced that you've won, and you're going to get this kind of real estate on an NHL helmet with your logo. This is 3 by 3/4 inches by 1.2 inches. What is your reaction to this?
I was shocked, and it wasn't just a couple of games. I think the year before, it was probably about 11 games, but for my deal, we had 30 road games. So whenever the New Jersey Devils travel, if they're traveling to Dallas, Los Angeles, Ottawa, I'm getting the road crowd.
I was going to say, you must be huge in Canada. Razu is huge in Canada.
100%. And the second, December 11th was our first game against the Islanders, actually. So not too far.
No, not too far.
The second that game started, analytics was just going crazy. Yeah.
That's great. Do you remember seeing it? I know you took pictures with it, but remember seeing it in a game for the first time?
Yes. I turned on my TV. I made my parents see it, who've been completely supportive for Razu. Definitely reached out to a lot of friends. Some of them actually watch hockey. Some of them are. This is going to be my first time watching hockey. And a lot of people know the logo. And once they saw the logo, they're like, whoa. And I think the logo actually matches with the helmet. You can see it very well, regardless of the angle of the camera. So yeah, it was pretty amazing.
All right, next up on our top conversations of 2022, Ginny Hill, CEO of the Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey, and Senior Girl Scout Olivia Altidor join us to discuss the critical role the organization plays in the professional development of young girls and the importance of the cookie program. Have a look.
Ginny, we'll start with you first. I mentioned at the outset 9 years with the Girl Scouts of Central and Southern New Jersey. What's your journey been over these 9 years, and what changes have you seen?
Wow. Well, I joined the organization in 2013, and it was at a time when Girl Scouting was really looking at bringing technology into our membership processes to use as a tool for registration and for engagement. And, we came through that. We really modernized a lot of our business model. Took a couple of years and spent a lot of effort contemporizing our program offerings. So today we're everything you know about Girl Scouts. We're camp, we're cookies, we're crafts, but we're also amazing badge programs that girls can do in topics like cybersecurity. And then the pandemic hit. And during the pandemic, I think what we saw and what we learned about our organization is really that the social interactions between girls as they're part of the Girl Scout troop and the organization are so critical, and that we really are a social and emotional wellness lifeline for so many girls. And so emerging out of pandemic, all those same things are true, but now we're really looking as we go forward to how do we take all that we've learned during these last 2 years, 2.5 years really, and even more so use technology as an enabler to make sure we can grow and bring more girls into our organization.
Got it. What made you get into it?
I think it's mainly just like the core values that Girl Scouts provides, even at a troop level. There's a lot that you can learn from being with your troop leader and just being able to be surrounded in an environment where it's all girls working towards big things such as like entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? Like selling cookies at a young age, we learn how to handle our money properly. So I think it was that like ambition that kind of drove me to wanting to be a Girl Scout at
That's great, and you've stuck with it. That's awesome. This is the 110-year anniversary of the Girl Scouts, right?
110 years,
So
yeah.
big celebrations all year round for this?
All year round. So we started in March. On March 12th was our annual, that's our annual birthday day, birth of the organization. We started the celebrations, and we're going to carry them through to next summer. One of the things that Olivia is going to be part of is she's a newly elected National Council delegate.
Oh, wow.
Every 3 years, Girl Scouts from around the country come together. In July 2023, we'll be descending upon Orlando, some 10 to 20,000 of us from all across the country. And so that'll be really the culmination of the year-long celebration.
For 110 years, I think the mission of that has kind of gone well beyond that. I overheard something you said in the interview. It said it's a safe place for girls to be when they want to discover themselves. Can you expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to describe it is to just really tell you a little about my own Girl Scout story. So I now know, reflecting back on my childhood, that it was at Girl Scout summer camp that I learned to get outside my comfort zone and that could be good for me. And, you know, it's little experiences like that, seemingly little, in the life of a girl when she's a youth in that safe space with other girls, where, you know, she doesn't have to worry about whether she succeeds or fail. It's really about the journey. And you know, the girls need a place where they can really explore a breadth of topics. You know, Girl Scouting is very broad. There's all kinds of badge programs and activities that you can do as a Girl Scout. And that gives them a chance to try a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other thing. And then through that, really develop their own sense of authenticity, who they are, and their voice and what they care about. So I look back now and say, wow, that was the moment that I learned that I could get outside of my comfort zone, which the specific example for me was canoeing in the lake, which I had never done. I fell over lots of times. I just got back in the boat, you know, with a lot of encouragement. And by the end of the week, I was pretty decent at it. It's still not my favorite activity, right? But that's okay.
You still got
and
time
I had time to learn it, right? And then I also learned leadership and sort of civic activism. I did a lot of organizing of community service when I was a Girl Scout, and that has definitely played forward in my entire life.
So you probably weren't at that age like, well, I need to figure out who I am at age 7. But I mean, as you've gone through it, has that been part of the journey?
Of course. Girl Scouts, you know, as you've, you know, alluded to before, is a major part in development. So there's no like, you're going to figure out exactly what you need to do forever now, but it's foundational things, and it helps you to, you know, build on some of your morals. Like Girl Scouts has definitely built, you know, a go-getter mentality for me. And that's something that I've installed since age 7 and kept with me till now. So yeah, it kind of leads up to that. And you know, of course, as you get into other opportunities within Girl Scouts, such as Media Girls or being a National Council delegate, you know, that can expand your horizons and start to build those goals that you're looking forward to.
All right, you're watching NJBIA's Minding Your Business Top Conversations of 2022. We'll be back right after a word from our sponsors at AT&T.
You're first. First to respond. First to put others' lives before your own. And in an emergency, you need a network that puts you first, that connects you to technology and each other, that's built with and for first responders. FirstNet, the only officially authorized wireless network for first responders. Because putting you first is our job.
Welcome back to NJBIA's Minding Your Business. I'm Bob Considine. Next up on our top conversations of 2022, Aaron Reilly is the CEO of New Jersey-based AMR Agency. He joined us to discuss his incredible journey of starting a sports agency business with no money, contacts, or prospects to now representing several NBA players. Take a look.
Going back a little bit for me in my previous life as a sports writer, I remember certain sports agents got into that line of work because they realized they couldn't be professional athletes and they wanted to stick with professional sports. Was that the same for you?
Yeah, I'm 6'1", maybe could jump over a credit card, maybe good jump shot though.
Right.
I'm all right with that.
Right.
But
You mean a flat credit card or standing up like this?
that's flat. It's
Okay,
not that,
good.
I don't have a good verb, but it's just, that was it for me. I wanted to stay in. My dad years ago gave me this book called What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School by
Right.
Marc McCormick,
Right.
creator of IMG. And I remember I was like 12, 13 at that time when he gave it to me. I would go, I can make money, make a profession, make a career in sports. And
Right.
came and got it, got it going.
So
Here I
did you
am.
go to school for this per se?
I went undergrad at a small school, Albright College,
Pennsylvania?
with kind of an idea of maybe getting into this. And I went to law school at Villanova. And when I was at Villanova, I went because I'm like, I'm going to buy myself 3 years to try to figure this agent thing out.
Right.
And worst case, I'll fall back on a JD, which is an awful degree to have,
Right.
but figure that was the move. So yeah, I
Right.
learned a lot in law school about this, negotiation, contracts, and everything.
Okay.
And helped prepare me a lot for sure.
So when you're trying to start, I mean, are you basically looking to hook onto a bigger firm, or are you looking to start your own smaller firm?
I reached out to every agency in college. Nobody responded. One agent responded to me just to be nice.
Right.
That was it. So I had to kind of do my own thing. I didn't really, I always talk about when I talk to younger people and want to get in, what's your value add? How are you providing value to these agencies? And at the time, I'm writing emails of, I love basketball.
Yeah,
Let me work with you. And they're
Right.
probably just like,
Yeah.
get out of here, kids. So
Yeah, yeah.
I had to take a crazy route and start my own thing up. And
Well, it's never wrong to have good heart with, your heart's in it.
No
right, from the
question.
beginning.
Right.
So you're starting up, and how do you talk to players? How do you attract players?
So there was a league we're all Jersey guys here in Belmar, the Jersey Shore Summer League.
I covered it.
There you
Yeah.
go. So it's St. Rose and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone. I had no relationships in basketball. I didn't know players, teams, anything.
Right.
And I said, my way is I'm gonna just have to hustle. And I have to spoke to every player walk through that door.
Right.
And just try to get friendly with them, try to get to know them a little bit, learn about the business as much as I could through them. And at the end of the summer, one player his agent wasn't getting it done. And he asked, he didn't ask me, I asked him, could I be your agent?
Right.
He looked at me like, but he allowed me to at least try to find something. And I did. And I still to this day, there's a website called Eurobasket that has every team in the entire world. Because every league has a domestic league, every country has a league, I should say.
Right.
And I emailed every single team around the world for a whole night, literally 12 hours, 13 hours.
Wow.
And I got one response,
Right.
and they wanted them. And I was an agent at that point.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So what year would have this been?
Probably around 08, 09,
08, 09.
10,
And who
somewhere
was the
around
player,
that.
do you think?
Marcus Toniel. He
Okay.
played at Seton Hall.
Oh, sure. And where would you have gotten him a gig?
He was in second division Australia with the Ballarat Miners. Oh my
Wow.
gosh, yeah, Ballarat Miners. Yeah. So he was down there in Melbourne.
So overnight, literally, you become an agent.
I'm an agent at that point.
Right. And so how do you grow AMR agency from that?
Very slowly. It took a lot of time.
Right.
Because again, when I had him as a client, I didn't know anybody in basketball.
Right.
So I'm relying on Marcus to introduce me to a buddy here.
Right.
I'm still in school. I'm trying to become a lawyer, all these things.
Yeah.
So the first few years is slowly taught myself the business. And then, just one would turn to two, turn with two to three. And by year 4 or 5, I probably had 5 or 6 guys overseas, a little small thing going on. And, that's about the time when I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to figure this thing out, try to break in the NBA, obviously,
Sure.
and then, started going from there.
Let's talk a little bit about the international aspect of this. A lot of these players are looking for gigs. Obviously, they want to be in the
Right.
NBA. Doesn't always happen. It's a
Right.
very small league. So you can find them jobs playing internationally.
Right.
How hard is that to do? One, to convince the player this is a good chance or choice for you, and you got to do your own research on it yourself.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. Again, this is the first few years. I had some people I worked with overseas that were incredible. They taught me which countries to send guys to,
Right.
what you want to avoid because
Right.
you're probably not getting your money or the living conditions are bad or they cut guys, and you just slowly but surely every year just keep picking up more and more to a point where it's in Germany you're going to get all your money, or you could go to I'm trying to think of a country right now.
Right.
I don't want to kill a country right now.
Sure.
There's certain countries you could go to
Right.
that you're probably not going to get all your
Yeah.
money, and you just pick up on these things as you
Right.
do more deals.
Just do not blast New Zealand. We are huge in New Zealand.
They got some good stuff over there.
Yeah. All right. So last year or 2 years ago, you get a college prospect, University of Oklahoma.
Mhm.
His name's Austin Reeves.
Yep.
And he signs on with you guys. And
Yeah.
this must be a very exciting time for you because he's projected to go in last year's draft, and at least maybe in the second round. So what actually happened?
From the beginning, we got him. We brought him out to New Jersey. One of the greatest moments in our career. Like, I love the guy. He's the greatest guy in the world.
Yeah.
For years, recruiting before Austin, we would get close to a lot of big name guys that you've heard. But it was always second because, oh, we love you, but you don't have a guy. So he was the one guy who finally took a chance on us. And so we brought him out to Jersey, started getting ready for the draft. He was here put him in Newark, New Jersey. You know, it was on purpose, good place, all that. But like, you know, it was about the work. That's what we were there for. And he really put the work and did his thing. We started sending him around to all the different teams for workouts. He was an NBA Combine. And then we got him, you know, draft night. I mean, obviously he goes undrafted, but there's reasoning behind that. I won't bore you with those details. But the Lakers were the team that we thought was the best fit. And he's starting by the end of the year. You know, it's a heck of a story.
Yeah, I mean, he wound up, look at his stats, he wound up averaging more than 7 points in his rookie year. Started about 20 games. And I know you're excited for him because, you know, you've obviously said he's a great guy and things like that. But how excited are you for your business, you and Reggie, for your business?
I mean, when you get kicked in the head so many times over these years, to finally get one and get a win, it's good.
Right.
And then you follow it up, you know, hopefully with more wins as you go on. Like we had the guy Jake this year. And another huge win for us. You know, he was top 20 pick this year. And a lot of momentum now going in good direction and people seeing the work we're doing for Austin and
that's great.
Trying to jump on board.
All right, last up on our top conversations of 2022, Catherine Fruge Starghill from the New Jersey Community College Consortium joined us to discuss the very important New Jersey Pathways to Career Opportunities initiative that is now off and running. Have a look.
I wanted to talk to you about the New Jersey Pathways program. I know they're really based on what you're called collaboratives, and you're the lead on these collaboratives. What are they?
Right. So we have the Pathways Initiative has two components, the industry-specific collaboratives as well as the Centers for Workforce Innovation.
Right.
But the collaboratives are the statewide, all-inclusive gatherings, meetings of education institutions as well as employers.
Okay.
So we refer to them as our industry partners and our education ecosystem partners. And they come together for the purposes of receiving and sharing information about all education and training across the state, as well as labor market information, which really highlight the needs of our employers.
And how often are they meeting these collaboratives?
Monthly.
Monthly?
Yes.
Wow. And so you've done, what, 3 months, 2 or 3 months of these already?
We are beginning our third month.
Right. And they're virtual?
They are virtual on
That's
Zoom.
Good.
We've
People
become
are busy, right?
experts on Zoom. Yes.
What kind of engagement are you getting from these folks?
Incredible engagement. As a matter of fact, in our database, we now have 990 partners.
Wow.
Inclusive of our industry partners, which is, of course, employers, employer associations, labor unions, and the like, workforce development partners, as well as our education ecosystem partners. And we kind of call those partners our ecosystem, education ecosystem partners, but they are high schools, they are community colleges, four-year colleges and universities, community-based training providers, again, workforce development partners who are training the unemployed. It's everyone engaged in education and training throughout the state.
Let's go through each one of these collaboratives. One is a health service, which is kind of the fastest growing sectors in the state for work sectors. What kind of feedback are you getting in the health services department?
So we have a lot of hospital systems, and it's interesting, that's who you might think about when you think of health services as an industry, but there are so many other elements, like nursing homes and the like, home care, and we've had engagement across that entire industry sector. And it's, always, as you hear from many employers across all sectors, it's all about getting more skilled employees in the pipeline.
We hear it all the time here for health services. It's such a sector in need, And I'm going to read something off your website, which I thought was fascinating. Health service employers paid nearly $28.3 billion in total wages in 2018, and the state forecasts that 78,300 new jobs will be added by 2026. So that makes makes it the largest sector in New Jersey. So is that reflected in some of the conversations, like the urgency on this?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. The employers, so part of the collaboratives we have industry leadership team meetings.
Right.
They meet quarterly. They are, leaders of these organizations, and they tell us. So that information you just read was from the New Jersey Department of Labor and Workforce Development's Labor Market Information Group. But the employers are telling us, the CEOs, the SVPs are telling us, we don't have enough staff.
Wow. And is this a COVID thing, or is it even?
It started before COVID.
Okay,
COVID exacerbated the situation.
Yeah, and we're hearing about a lot of it now. And great representation for all these schools. We'll put the name of the schools involved both in patient care and healthcare technology and administration. How awesome is it to have such involvement from these community colleges?
It's incredible. So this initiative it's a community college initiative.
Yeah.
But we're inviting all other education institutions. Yeah. And, patient care curriculum is probably the largest curriculum at all of our 18 community colleges. And so that Center for Workforce Innovation, focused on patient care, has 7 community colleges. Yeah. The other centers for workforce innovation have, some have 2 colleges, others have 5. That's probably the max, but patient care is the largest.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what they even get out of it. Like, do they enjoy being part of this process?
Absolutely. The centers are the smaller work groups that will actually develop new curriculum and degree programs or enhance existing programs. And we have a network of community colleges in the state. It's not like a system with one person dictating everything that each of the colleges do. And so this is one of the few opportunities our colleges have had to really talk to one another, collaborate with one another in regards to curriculum specific content.
Yeah, I was wondering before this, you mentioned it's the first time they're really kind of working with each other. I wonder, is there even competition between these schools?
Oh, sure. Sure, absolutely. Right. There's some, county border competition
right, I'm sure.
happening. But they also do collaborate where they have, we call them 1+1 agreements, enrollment agreements, because not every community college can offer every single degree program. And so maybe a resident student will take their general education courses at their local community college, but because of an agreement that college has with another community college, they'll take all of their degree major programs at another community college.
Okay, very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get back to the collaboratives. The next one is manufacturing and supply chain management. And we've heard so much about supply chain in the news. Are these collaborative sessions reflecting that in those conversations?
Absolutely. So there's the frustration. I mean, the supply chain problem really is linked to several things, but one of the issues really is workforce, not having enough personnel to unload those big containers, right, coming into the port of Newark and Elizabeth. And so, making sure that the employers operating those ports have enough employees is important. Make sure they're trained properly.
Right. And even, you mentioned the employees, but even the manufacturing aspect of it, we need people to make the parts to load off the boats.
Well, there's that. So maybe our reliance on other countries, has to be put in check. And I think that there are policymakers certainly talking about that.
Absolutely.
The one thing the manufacturing employers talk about is changing the perception, really not even at the community college level, but at the high school and middle school level, right? Manufacturing is no longer dirty work.
No.
These are clean rooms with technology.
Yeah. It's not the old metal shop.
It is not the old metal
shop. And the wood shop, I remember going way back now, we'd be making marionettes out of wood, you know, going way back. So it's gotten a little more sophisticated.
With the sawdust all over the floor, yes.
Keep your saw square 2 ways, and we know how it goes. All right, we thank all of our tremendous guests who joined us in 2022, and we thank you for joining us each and every week on NJBI is Minding Your Business. We'll see you in the new year.